Welcome everyone to our podcast. Today, we're sitting with partners in school nutrition, diving into actionable inspiration to provide you not only ideas, but strategies for success. I'm your host, Maureen Pisanick, and I'm thrilled to explore this topic with you and with some of our school nutrition friends. I am so excited today to be sitting next to a friend in food service, Marisa from Gordon Food Service. She's representing the Power Squad here today. We don't have Nicole and Adam because they're busy out there. For those of you in Northeast Ohio, you know we have the best education specialist team from Gordon Food Service. I'm very biased. I've been in this business now over 2 decades, and Gordon Food Service specialist all the way back from Carl Saldano. Everybody teases me. He was like the gold standard, my old Italian Carl Saldano. He pulled a chair up my first day on the job as a nutrition director at Chagrin Falls Schools and literally said, "What can I do to help you?" Because I probably look like a deer in the headlights. So for us to be able to, over the last 2 decades, continue to grow and meet new education specialists, thank you. And I just want you to know you guys are so important to the success of all the folks you help in K-12. And I'm preaching to the choir because you used to be in that seat too.
I did, but I appreciate you saying that.
I know. So thank you for being on this side. Tell me a little bit about, you jumped from the wild side. You were in the seat, the food service director seat, which I love about you because then you really get it. You get the challenges. Yes. But tell me a little bit about your background. What brought you to go in food service?
Yeah. So I always said when I was in school that I was not going to be a dietitian and I was not going into food service, which is funny. Now I can't leave. So so I was on the other side of things. I was a food service director at a nursing home and I came to K-12 and I started out as a director at a small school and then I went to a larger district and I was the assistant director. But just something about being on the other side of it intrigued me. And now that I made the jump, I'm very happy that I'm here. So
that's awesome. So you know all the toll it takes to like write a menu and like make sure you have all the spec sheets and that you've taught your staff how to do it and that you've monitored that your kids like it. And now you get to help us figure that all out on the flip side. I don't think there's a better person that could sit in that chair that can really empathetically walk with a food service director along this journey. So this podcast, the whole goal of this podcast is to be a small conversation that just enlightens folks to resources. And I know, I jokingly said that you guys are the best, but we are very spoiled. So having Gordon Food Service, one of the things I will just say is you guys really put a lot of time and effort in the K-12 segment. Talk a little bit about Gordon Food Service commitment and their mission to supporting this segment.
Yeah, so we do have a lot of resources that go into the K-12 segment. We do a lot of our own marketing as education specialists though. So we'll put together amongst us, we'll put together things that we think our customers can utilize. But in addition to, we have the digital solutions team like Chip Gregory, which
Yep, he's here today.
Yep, he's always working to make things better for our customers. So, the Gordon experience as a whole, with our Gordon ordering, inventory platforms, Gordon reporting, those are all tools that really help schools be better efficient in their operations.
Yeah, I love that. So I've worked with a number of distributors now that our company helps schools across the nation. And I'm biased just because you do have not only people resources, you have technical resources.
Yes.
So I really do think just again, a big thank you to Gordon Food Service, not only for showing up in that capacity, but showing up for Innovation Academy today and sponsoring us. And one of the things I love about what we do is we try to get in front of problems and proactively think about ways to start everybody's school year off well. And so this event was planned in conjunction with your team. You were on all the it's like planning a wedding.
It was crazy.
It was crazy. It's like a half a year to get this sucker off the ground. But I love how thoughtful we all come to the conversation of like, not just thinking what we want to do. It's like, what are our customers? And so your newsletters, you brought up a good example. Not only do you have this digital, you kind of take all that information and funnel it down into a succinct newsletter that you give to your client base to help them get the curated, we call it like the Cliff Note, the Cliff Notes, the curated version of like need to know facts. So you are a great communicator of that. This year, let's dive in. What's the toughest challenge you think people face coming into the school year this year? I know we have Elena Beist here talking about clean label and buy American, and we have Chip Gregory and all the technical skills. One of the biggest challenges I try to get in front of, and I want you to help our listeners think about today, is the out-of-stock blues.
Yes.
Talk to us about this.
Our beloved out-of-stocks. As a former director, I can empathize with that. That was very frustrating. And especially, I felt like it happened at the worst time. The back-to-school season was the worst with out-of-stocks, which makes sense, for everyone. But now that I'm on the other side of it, knowing that all the schools are back in session at the same time, everyone's coming back in. But really what's going to help everyone as a whole, us and the customers, is communication. So I think that a lot of schools, they're changing their menus, they're taking things off their menus, they're making new menus for their students for a new year. But if they don't communicate that in a timely manner with Gordon Food Service, then our inventory team's not going to know what products to stock. They are taking data. Our inventory team's amazing, so shout out to them. And they're taking data from last school year at this time and looking at what we were purchasing and what schools were buying during that time frame. But we all know that menus change. So if we're pulling old data, it's not going to be perfect. And if schools aren't communicating their changes with us, then we won't know what items to stock for them.
I love that. So I often say people usually do things if they understand the why behind it. So the why isn't like, don't just keep your menu stagnant. But if you are going to end with the beginning in mind, and that May order is going to be very similar, hey, give your education specialist a shout out. Hey, I'm keeping it, but then come October, we're going to switch it over, or whatever the day, or they go to a food show. Some people are lucky enough to go to ANC in the summer or come to a food show like today, and they see something like, I'm putting this on my menu. But there needs to be that critical step, which is, what are you replacing or taking off? And even though you don't have a crystal ball, because I think that's the nervous part. Like, as a director, you can remember if someone said, hey, you like it, how much will you order? Well, you don't know. You could say, oh, if it's a like product, we'll take this off, and that one ran how many last time? What are some tips you would give a director now being in this side of the chair? Like, don't be afraid. What is the best way to guesstimate that number if you're thinking about changing your menu item?
If you're looking to replace an item, you as a director would be able to run a report and see your usage for that item that you're replacing. So you can kind of get an idea, if you ran a monthly report, how many cases you purchase in a month. Or you can have your GFS sales rep run that report and say, hey, looks like you ordered 10 cases of this. If you're looking to replace this, based on the amount of servings per case, if that's going to be the replacement, we can kind of guess around that number would be the would be a great guess.
And lean into data. We have Chip here today. Chip Gregory does great little mini videos. I'll plug those again. I talked to him earlier with Elena. Like, learn how to run these reports. Look at your inventory. Look at what you did in your production records. We have our teams here with Healthy Pro. A lot of our school districts use that and do online production records. So lean into the technology to really help you forecast. I think that's the big thing. People get really nervous that it's going to be too hard, but they have the numbers are there at their fingertips, just like how to run it. What is the best ways for school to leverage support from your team to manage their cycle menus? Like, I know there's a lot, but give me some examples. Like, now again, I love this perspective. When you were sitting in the chair as a director, I think it takes a village. I always say that it takes a village to really run a really good program, and we can't give good service unless we get it. I remember sitting and worrying about, it's a lot easier now, but allergies, and like you're serving kids food and they have allergies on them. Talk to us a little bit about what schools can do to partner with Gordon Food Service to be successful in some of these problems.
So first is starting with a cycle menu. You'd be surprised how many people just wing it, and that's great. But when you look at it from an inventory standpoint, or just trying to stay organized and having all of the things that you need for your reviews that you may have, being on a cycle menu helps. But we have a lot of things in Gordon Experience that help customers better implement and become efficient in their cycle menus. One of those being, there's a resources tab in Gordon Experience, and it's dedicated to K-12. So it gives sample menu options. So if you're looking for new ideas, they're listed on there, as well as full nutritional profiles for each of the products. You can kind of Command F and look for the product you're looking for under that tab itself.
Oh, nice.
We're always here to help, but K-12 has its own resource section in the Gordon Experience. If you're looking at Gordon ordering, we have the inventory platform off there, but we also have custom guides that schools can use. So that's a great way to organize your cycle menus that way.
I love that. So you're helping feed guided category. Instead of going into the catalog, you're doing a specified order guide that matches into their cycle menu. So it makes the ease of ordering happen and inventory happen. I love these ideas. Yes. I like a little drama too. And podcasts, people listen to podcasts, they listen to like true crime. So let's talk about the dreaded drama. What is the biggest pet peeve? We're going to pick a pet peeve that schools do. We won't name any names or avoid embarrassing people. But what are some things that you are like, gosh, if I could help people not do this, they would have such an easier year. Relative, obviously, there's lots of things people do, but relative to buying food.
Right.
What do you think is the biggest pet peeve that happens? And I will say mine after you share yours.
Okay. I will speak for the team. And I think the biggest pet peeve is waiting until the pot boils over. So customers waiting until they can't take it anymore and they've had this issue, and then they come to the GFS sales reps. Mm-hmm. We would love to help alleviate that frustration early and nip it in the butt. So if there's one problem that you don't think is that big, let us know so that we're aware of it and that we could potentially put a stop to it before the pot boils over and everyone's frustrated and it's a way bigger problem than it had to be.
Yeah, that's great advice. Okay, so when I was a director, my biggest pet peeve was getting a call in the morning. This was before the app, when it was a snow day. And it was the frantic call from Carl at the time about, our driver's on the road, your food is going to show up. I know you have a snow day. So I think my biggest pet peeve is people just not having a good plan. Like in food service, you don't have a plan. If you don't have a plan B, C, D, sometimes LMNOP, all the way down the whole, you can't just go a plan A. Right. And so we know in schools, we have things that we have to plan for. So one of my pet peeves is folks not thinking through some things in good communication. Now, Gordon Food Service has upped their game, and people can track their truck on an app now. Talk a little bit about that. I used to get that call at 5 a.m. It would wake me up. And I'm like, darn it, I could be sleeping in today. It's a snow day.
Right. We do have a few different options. So obviously you can download the Gordon Ordering app, the Gordon Now app, and you have your driver's ETA and has a little picture of your driver too, so you know who's coming, which is really nice for safety purposes. There's also a chat called Expo. So if you log into Gordon Ordering, there's a little chat box at the bottom right corner, and you can ask Expo where my truck is.
Nice.
So you don't even have to ask your sales rep. And then you can also set your preferences to get a text when your truck is 30 minutes out. So that's also really nice.
I love this. I love this. And now this might not even be a pet peeve, but just another fun fact. You all are supported by inside sales. So I think for me, just remind folks, what's the right call to you versus inside sales?
Ooh, the lists are a bit long.
Okay.
But
some highlights.
Yeah, some highlights. Our inside sales reps do a lot of the background ordering. So if you need something added on, you can reach out to them. If you need a sub out of stock, you can reach out to them. Those are the big ones, as well as special orders. They place those behind the scenes. They could do that for you. They can look at pricing and get back to you really quick. And sometimes, I'm here, so I can't always get to my customers right when they want an answer. So typically our inside sales reps, they're up and ready to do that. So
I love that. I love that. The other thing I will say is, the idea, of people, maybe the school's pet peeve. So things happen, we know, something might get smushed in transit, a case of yogurts gets smashed, or somebody opens a case of produce and some of it has gone south because a bag has opened. That might be their pet peeve, but let's assuage that pain point, because you all have a great process of really owning quality food delivery. Talk a little bit about if a customer's not satisfied, don't let that pot boil over and be mad about it.
Right.
Tell people, remind people, what can they do?
Yeah. So that was a good inside sales rep. They do the anything that when they get an item that is damaged, or they do the credits on that. So you could reach out to the inside sales rep and they will issue a credit, but also looping myself in or your GFS sales representative in to give them the reason, like if it was just a one-time thing and it was a dented can, or if there is a product issue, because then we can reach out to the broker or manufacturer and let them know that, hey, this product is not good quality and they can see what's going on at the plant. We could go down a whole rabbit hole of further research. So
I love it. And
we
you
can
guys
kind of
take
get the
every
ball
call.
started.
Yep, you take every call seriously and you follow it and track it and you try to avoid it happening again.
Right.
Because that could be a school's pet peeve. Like, oh my gosh, I get this.
Yeah, that is frustrating.
And then they don't tell you and then they order again and so it might be a product issue. It might even be something you have to take as high back to the manufacturer and figure out what's going on.
Right.
I love that we, again, people do it generally if they understand the why behind it.
Yeah. Or there could be someone that's loading the trucks and they're new and they're stacking light things on underneath heavy things and things are coming in smashed.
Yep.
Cases are coming in smashed, but that's a learning opportunity for them that maybe they didn't know they were loading the truck wrong.
Yep, and retraining and not just be frustrated. So be a good collaborator and communicator. So if you're a customer, the best thing we can do for each other is be open and talk about things because we can't solve problems unless we know them, right? Right,
and like overly communicate. Like if you think it's not a big deal, maybe it's not, but just let us know. I mean, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, I love that. On days like today, so not only did we spend months planning this big day today, I've been stuck in here doing some podcasting. I love it. I'm not saying I'm stuck. I've been enjoying my podcast time. But out there's so many new products. One other thing that I don't even want to call it a drama, but sometimes it is. Somebody will see something at a food show and they're like, I really love that product. Yeah. I think from a side of us, we never want to stop innovation. We want to allow manufacturers the space to be creative and to show new products. We also partner with HPS, which is a major GPO that helps logistically schools purchase those products on contract. Tell us a little bit about a day like today. After you leave here, I'm sure you're going to get a call. I'm going to get a call. Hey, I was in the food show and I saw fill in the blank. We try to really be good about making a little color code that this is not stocked. Talk a little bit about how schools can interact with you and not be frustrated about things like, hey, I saw this new product, but you don't carry it at Imperial. What's the process like for you guys to support that?
Yeah, so you mentioned HPS, which is great. They actually have a tool called the CAT tool where an interested customer can put in the item that they are interested in and say, hey, we want to see this on the bid. And then if a bunch of customers are doing that and HPS gets all this feedback that, hey, this one product, people are really interested in this. Maybe this is something that we put on the bid. I mean, that helps get the ball rolling, and Gordon Food Service will see that as well because the results are shared with us. But letting us know, I always say, like, get a bunch of people around you. Like, if you're interested in this, maybe the school district next to you hasn't heard of it and you're like, hey, have you seen this? And get samples from brokers and vendors and have your students try it because you think it's cool, but you take it back to your school and your kids are like, oh, this is not going to be for us. Then, never mind on this maybe. Yep. But sampling, I mean, brokers, manufacturers can help you with that. We can help coordinate the sampling. And I would say do a little bit of research like that, use the CAT tool. And then if there's enough interest there, then
what is it, about 20 cases a week to move, or what is the? I don't want to put you on the spot.
Closer to 30 to 40. Okay. Don't quote me. Yeah.
See, I'm trying to hold our feet to the fire. It's only 20. No. But, that's another reason why we love Pisanick Partners. So we write menus now for over 50 school districts.
That's crazy.
And I love the idea. We aren't competitive restaurants. So if we can find common quality products out there, coach schools that these are ways you can use it on a recipe, versatilely on your cycle menu, that helps build the volume. So if it's something you want to see on your menu and you can get it on and do it in a bunch of different ways, that'll help build the volume.
Correct.
So I think we're all singing from the same song sheet. We're trying to get people to just think creatively together, but also the collaboration and the economy of scales is what really does help draw that desire to bring in new products. And at Innovation Academy, we have a lovely show floor with over 47 vendors out there showing wonderful things. So I think we're going to have a busy year of product innovation between the two of us. So we do all this work to get to this point, and our work doesn't start. It only it starts today, doesn't stop, right? With school year 25, 26. Fun question. When you were in school, what was your favorite lunch?
Ooh. I would have to say Fiestada pizza and Bosco sticks.
I love it.
And they're both still around.
So the little orange one that looked like a octagonal pizza?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We still have it. Yeah. But I remember it as like they would slide out of the kitchen and, on the counter, and they'd be as big as the little small plates they were served on. So it was like, as a kid, I was like, wow, this pizza is massive. Like, it fills my whole plate. And I remember going out for seconds, and I love Bosco sticks, but I guess I just love cheese.
Yeah, so. I love both of those. Well, we appreciate you being in the hot seat.
Yeah.
Your counterparts are out there working the show, but we certainly enjoyed the time today on NutriSmart SNAX podcast to interview you, and we appreciate all the work you do with us and for us in the K-12 segment. Thanks for being with us today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.